everybody. This is Directly to You, episode number 79. Again, but
That's
you
right.
didn't hear the first time. I am AJ of Fanatics 4. I am joined by Parker of Fanatics 4.
What's up?
Hello, Parker.
That's me. I'm the one that does that.
Explain yourself.
Hey guys, we were about half an hour or so into recording this episode. My computer derped out and didn't save the audio session or anything. So we're starting again. We're gonna go a little faster probably through some of the beginning parts because we've already talked about it with each other, but we didn't get that far into what we were talking about anyway. So you won't even barely notice, but everything else will be normal and fine because we'll be talking about it for the first time.
Housekeeping. You can help support us at youtube.com/fanatics4 by clicking the join button. I was about to say join the click button. Yeah. For $4.99, you get loyalty badges, emotes, gaming time with us from time to time, Twitch keys. You know, sometimes you get to play Smash Brothers with me. When you feel like playing Smash Brothers, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's so
true. You know what
true.
I'm saying? Also, you can support by going to twitch.tv/fanatics4 and paying, I think, the same price. And you get all the same stuff. And both of those things get you access to our supporters-only Discord. You can join our Discord regardless. That's in the description. You can click the link and join and say hello. You know? If I'm not in there, at me, and I'll see it.
That's right.
Now, on to the show. What are you playing, Parker?
You don't even know, man.
I don't even know.
Clue. So
I
mostly two things this week. I was playing A Link to the Past up until I'm still playing that, but I was playing that up through today, and then today I started something else. So A Link to the Past, again, like I said last week, this is my first time playing through it.
Today.
And also earlier today, yes. This is my first time playing through it, and so I just got to the main half of the game, I guess, or the post getting the Master Sword and all those shenanigans. So it's been a whole lot of fun. I've done 3 dungeons so far, and I think I've got 7 to go. I'm pretty sure 7 princesses you have to save or something. Which
did you do the one with the worm guy? It looks like a worm man.
Yes, where you have to hit his tail and stuff.
Yeah,
I did. Oh man, I got confused in that one though for a bit because I was supposed to get the moon pearl, and I forgot to get it while I was in there. I got the other thing that let me get the master sword. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Long story short, I had to go back to that tower just real quick to get that there moon pearl. But I thought maybe there was a bunch of stuff I missed in there. Like I missed the second half of the dungeon. So I went back, got that, and was blowing up every wall or just trying to find is there other stuff I have to do? And there wasn't. That was it. That's all I had to do.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I'm just a crazy old guy. But yeah, that's one of the things I'm playing. And then the other one, real quick, Divinity Original Sin 2.
Because I'm also playing an SNES game, and that's how you segue.
That is how you segue.
I'm still playing Yoshi's Island.
Yep.
I've been hovering my cursor over F-Zero because I'm in theory, I want to play this game. Just in theory, Parker's stupid.
I was going to say.
But at the same time, I kind of don't, you know? So I haven't. But I'm playing Yoshi's Island.
Are you enjoying Crying Baby Mario?
No.
Your favorite?
To be fair, haven't heard of them much because I am the best Yoshi's Islander.
Oh, the best, huh?
The best one.
Wow.
So I haven't heard a single Mario cry, not a one.
We'll believe that. So how do you even know what I'm just kidding. Nice. Yeah, F-Zero seems fun. There's a bunch of other games. Whenever I'm done with Link to the Past, I'm gonna hop on. Although I do wonder, should I have, with Link's Awakening coming out soon, part of me wonders, should I have waited to play Link? I don't know if I want to play a top-down Zelda and then beat it and then play another top-down Zelda right afterwards.
Why not?
I don't know. Just, for variety and stuff.
No, that's dumb. You're dumb.
Pretty much. But yeah, the other one I'm playing, like I said, you got a code for Divinity Original Sin 2, and you were like, I don't care about this. And you're like, Parker, do you want this? And I said, yes. So
that's exactly how that went.
That's exactly how it went. I've only played just a little bit of it. I am still in the kind of tutorial-ish area, or the opening kind of intro segment, I guess.
So you play 12 hours of this game?
Yeah, something like that. All things considered, I don't know if this one doesn't seem like it's going to be as much that kind of a tutorial-y RPG as I mean, it might, but I've got a feeling that most of the new mechanics that I'll pick up are just like new spells or new something like that. Like, I think I'm getting kind of everything all at once otherwise, because it is like the tutorial bit like feels... Honestly, okay, just side note from that sentence even, it feels kind of like a single-player MMO in some regards. Like, even though there is multiplayer you can do. That,
like, oh, well, there you go. You answered my question. I was going to say, is it multiplayer? Because, like, I have the email with, like, the fact sheet and, like, this is this game and this is what it's about. But, like, I saw the title and I remember the Nintendo Direct thing and I was like, I don't care about this game, so I'm not going to read that. All I looked for was an embargo and that's not there. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's got
paste.
It's got multiplayer in there, but it's not like necessary or mandatory or whatever. It's just I don't know how the multiplayer would be. The combat is like, again, it's kind of similar to D&D-ish kind of combat.
What does that mean?
So what that means is it's sort of like Fire Emblem in the sense that it's not on a grid, but it's that kind of turn-based in the sense that like you're standing somewhere and then you can like move around and do an action or do an action and move around with a little bit more freedom of like what kinds of things you can do, and you have like lots of different spells and all that kind of stuff.
Do you got dice? Is there dice in this game?
No, there are no dice, but a couple times people have missed stuff. So like you do have modifiers like Constitution and all that, intelligence and dexterity, although dexterity is called finesse, I think, in this. I don't know. So all that to say, it seems like it's pretty fun so far. I'm not that far into it, but my character is a little dwarf guy. That's some kind of I don't even know what class exactly he is. It seems like a necromancer version of a paladin, where it's like kind of beefy but kind of like magic-y necromancy stuff too. So don't remember what it's called, but whatever.
Speaking of nerd stuff, I'm still playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
And I went to Elemental Heroes, which is the cards that the second main character in the second Yu-Gi-Oh! Show has. I'm like, he has cool cards, man. You should Google them. They look cool. I want them. So I went to the card shop that has it's no in-game like microtransaction stuff. It's all like money that you earn by playing the story mode and doing challenges, and I assume dueling other people.
Oh yeah, is there multiplayer that you can do?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which also, I bought the game for my brother. We still haven't played it though. So I'll report back on how the multiplayer is once that happens.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was like I have like all the money that I could possibly earn at this point. And I went and I was like, I'm going to buy every card this guy has. And I went to the store and I didn't have enough money to do that, but I bought most of them. Which is, I mean, it's a good and bad thing. I like how they do it, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, right.
I like the fact that it's finite and it's like once you buy however many cards they have in stock for this pack, then you're done and you have every card that you need from that like line or collection or whatever. And then you're done. But I don't like that it costs that much money to complete.
It does seem like it might be a fairly accurate representations, maybe not the right phrase, but something like that, of like either being in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like just in the real world and buying Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, but like if you don't have any friends to play with in real life or don't want to go to like tournaments or something like that, this does seem, from the little bits I've heard from you talk about it, like a pretty good alternative where it's like you get to be invested in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card dueling and, you know, like buy all the cards and stuff like that. And it feels maybe kind of expansive. Give me that part.
Just let me say, like, I like this guy. Give me all his cards.
Yeah. Also true.
I wanted like, and it doesn't even work because like you beat the story mode and like you play as these characters and stuff like that. I wish that like once you complete all the person that you're using's duels in that particular story, then it just gave you their cards. But it only gives you like some of their cards.
Yeah. Do you think that's just for like replay value kinds of purposes?
Probably.
Yep.
But it's dumb and I hate it. Just give me every card.
Yep. Last time when we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it made me think that we need a new Pokemon card trading card game.
Yep.
Because I like the Game Boy one.
Never played it.
Yep.
I just threw Pokemon cards with my sister. I had a whole bunch of Pokemon cards, and me and my sister would be like, "It's Pokemon Day." That would just be random days, apparently. And we would just throw our Pokemon stuff all over our room, and then we would get yelled at.
That was just the activity, though. It was just throwing them.
No, that was like the opening ceremony.
What even does that mean? Oh man,
I didn't think of it. My sister did.
Okay,
she's 2 years older than me, she was the boss.
Yeah, you go along with that. I did. Okay, and again, most of what, just as a side note, most of what we're saying isn't overlap from the last time because that just feels dumb. But I did talk about last time.
Like
how
I said, like there's like bits and pieces of this that's like we touched on this. Like you know about the Pokemon Day, but actually no, I didn't tell you about Pokemon Day.
Not quite,
I told you about the fact that me and my sister used to throw the cards all over.
And that was it. And I was like,
but I didn't give you context as to why. And here's the context. So we're peeling back a little bit more to make this interesting for us, thereby more interesting for you.
That's right. The thing that I did touch on, though, as far as throwing Pokemon cards made me think of, was when I was a kid in the schoolyard, instead of just trading Pokemon cards, we would take Pokemon cards, and if, like, you know, I don't know, you had a Gyarados, and I had, I don't know, what would be, I was going to say Muck, but, like, that would be a terrible trade.
Before you said Gengar for Charizard,
I know that.
Also,
I mean, but that's also pretty bad. Okay, Alakazam for Charizard. I feel like that one's, you know,
is a
little bit up there.
Alakazam has spoons, dude. Like,
I mean, he does, but like as far as a card, like I felt like that was.
I'd rather have a Flaming Tail than a spoon any day. You know,
there was a long time that I didn't have an Alakazam or a Gengar, so those were like some of my sought after ones.
Grail.
Yeah, for a little while. But yeah, so you take Alakazam and a Gengar, let's say, whatever. One of them's yours, one of them's mine. And instead of just trading them for each other,
Gengar. Give me the Gengar's mine.
Well, not for long, because get ready for what's about to happen. So we take both of our cards and then like just hold them front to, you know, face to face or whatever, and then check them up in the air. Somebody would yell heads and somebody would yell tails, and then if it landed both heads, then whoever landed heads got both of them, and if it landed both tails, then whoever got tails, and then if it was half and half, then you just do it again. And then I think the goal for this was like, you know, you didn't have that much money as a kid, so this was a way to get more cards, not just trade the ones that you already have, because then it's kind of, you know, like you're netting out evenly, unless it's like I've got 4 Machamps and you've got, you know, and you got 4 of this other thing, we can trade one of you, like that works out. But if you don't have a bunch of duplicates, then it's hard to kind of do that. So this is how we did that. But like, yeah, definitely there were some sad days where you're like, ooh, I'm gonna get that Charizard, and you're like, no, I lost my Charizard now. That would be a terrible trade.
Were you ever on the receiving end of that? Of like the kid that walked away with all the other kids' cards?
I mean, it was only ever like 2 at a time. So I'd only ever be winning 1 card max. But nevertheless, I definitely had both experiences of that, where I lost some cards that I really cared about, and then also gained some that I quite enjoyed as well.
Did you get any cards back, or were they just like off the table? They're like, no. We can't do that one. That one's mine forever. That
definitely happened where it's like, yeah, we played at some, you know, like I feel like I lost a Dragonite or something like that, and I was like, no, play it back for this other thing. He's like, too late, it's mine now. And I'm like, no, but play it. Yeah, so no double or nothings over there. But yeah, that was a fun old time back then. So whatever. But yeah, that's most of the stuff I've been playing. And then what about anything else for you?
I've been playing Smash Brothers. I want to go to locals because I've been talking to Falcon. Falcon goes to locals. I want to go to tournaments, you know? Like, I play this game, and everybody's like, you're good at this game. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Go to tournaments.
Do it.
That'd be cool.
Report back. You said next week or this week or something like that?
Yeah, either this weekend, or next weekend.
I'm excited to hear about it.
So when I win all the prize money, I'll be right here to tell you guys about it.
That's right. You know? Still doing the housekeeping and paying the bills.
Right, exactly.
Yep. All that good stuff. I had a good segue and I lost it. RingFit Adventure. Here we go. Into the news. So this was announced this week, and yeah, it's there. There you go. It's honestly, long story short, as my impressions, it looks way more gamified and exciting of an exercise game than I was thinking it was going to be. I figured mini games galore, and there's some mini games, but mostly there's, you know, kind of progression based mechanics, and I like that.
And I saw it and I was like, yeah, that seems about right.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's $80. Going to launch on October 18th. We talked a bunch of details about it, but I mean, the big picture is if we get a copy from Nintendo, it's going to come to me because I'm already somewhat interested in it because I need to exercise and I don't. And this would be a good, helpful way to do that.
And I'm not interested at all.
Yep. So that's why it's coming to me. So
I'm interested in seeing how it performs and seeing how people receive it.
Yep.
It seems like people like it more than I expect them to, but like that's usually the case considering that. Well, I don't know. People are usually like, I was going to say concerning the fact that we're like Nintendo YouTubers, but at the same time, a lot of Nintendo YouTubers, like they get off on hating everything. So there's that.
I think a lot of people, it's hard because like interest doesn't necessarily translate over to sales, especially with like some of Nintendo's kind of stuff, where in this day and age, or like right now, a lot of interest is just like, wow, that's weird and wacky, just like we love from Nintendo. But it's like, I like seeing it, but I don't care about being invested. You know, like Labo, I feel like was prime example of that. A lot of people just were like, I mean, myself included, I was like, that's pretty cool. I don't really care about it for me, but it's pretty cool, you know? So like, I'm positive about it as a thing, but just not for me. The thing that I think held back a lot with Labo that hopefully won't be the same case here is that the gameplay with Labo just was fairly lacking as far as like replay value and stuff like that, where a lot of the things were experiences in the same way that some VR stuff is. You know, that's really why VR has a hard time, because
it's definitely a thing of like, oh, you're over my house for the first time. I have something cool to show you. Look at this. And then they look at it and then that's it.
Yep. Because that was, I mean, which is 1-2 Switch was about that same kind of thing too. But honestly, Wii Fit and Wii Play and all that, like those were just fun games that you could kind of play with anybody and they wouldn't have to, you know, I mean, like for the most part, it wouldn't be stuff that you'd be doing a whole lot by yourself. Or sorry, I meant to say Wii Sports. Wii Fit you could definitely do by yourself and probably would be doing a lot of it by yourself. But it was like, I don't know, more fun stuff replay value wise.
Yeah, and plus like it's goal oriented.
Yes.
It's like you're playing this to get buff, you know what I mean?
That's right. Man, I'm going to be so swole, guys. You don't even know. Like, I'm going to just be holding up my arm and then you'll be like, where's everything else? It's just an arm. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Neither do I, but that's what happens when we record
that's
a fourth of a podcast.
It's just going to be an arm, guys. I mean, he's just Buzzwole over here. No.
Then you're skipping leg day, confirmed.
True. I don't know. It seems fun. I think it'll be something that, I mean, if we get it for free, cool. Then I will definitely let you guys know my impressions. I'll probably be getting it anyway. If the reviews come out and they're like, it's awful, it broke, and the games suck, then I guess I won't get it, and I'll try to find something else that will help me exercise the way that I hope this will. Just find
a regular Pilates ring that doesn't have a Joy-Con.
Pretty much. Just glue it on there. It'll work out. So yeah, that's that. RingFit Adventure, October 18th, $80. Makes sense that they put out the teaser first to get people talking about it, because otherwise, honestly, it just would have flown under the radar. I feel like if they just put out this trailer. Oh, we didn't even talk about the most important part of this whole thing. That
What's
guy
that?
in the trailer was like scary.
Was he?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like other people agreed, but definitely, like, as I was first watching it, he just seemed really intense and like very. I don't even know exactly what it is, but I tweeted out, like, if you don't buy this, that guy from the trailer is going to be standing outside your window just smiling in. And I feel like that's exactly what it is, where it's like, are you playing Ring Fit Adventure? Are you having such a good time? And I'm like, no, get out of my nightmares. But also, I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but just very excited and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I'm already swole, so I'm not scared of him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
what a place of privilege.
I already ringed all the fits. You know what I mean?
Fit all those rings.
Yep. So I wasn't scared even one bit.
Nope. I wasn't scared of Ring Fit, but you know what I was scared of? Those Daemon X Machina reviews.
Scared of what they ended up being, or scared in anticipation that they would be bad?
Hey, you know what? We don't need to focus on those details.
In retrospect, when we first talked about this, I was like, oh, these reviews are like kind of bad, but they're not really that bad.
No, yeah. So they're like medium.
Middle of the road.
Yes, exactly. It's not all that bad. Actually, and that was exactly where we cut off earlier. So you could tell. Actually, it's only been 20 minutes now. Or we only shaved off 10 minutes. I don't know how. Whatever. Who cares? We're good.
We added more content.
That's right. We did a good old job. Daemon X Machina. The big picture of the reviews from everything I was looking up and listening to and reading and stuff, seems like customization all pretty good. People like the customization and whatnot. The boss fights against the Colossals, those were all pretty good. Kind of felt Monster Hunter-y, and felt like you had to watch your ammunition a little bit, which I definitely felt that in the first demo, but too much, where like I ran out of ammunition on on that boss fight. So that was kind of lame, but hopefully they did better with those ones here. But apparently those were pretty fun. Fighting against enemy mechs was, some people liked it, some people didn't, kind of depended on the reviewer. But generally the majority of just the regular levels apparently were just kind of just cannon fodder, lots of enemies that you're just shooting for the sake of shooting, but like aren't much of a challenge so much as just you're just doing it. So it just kind of becomes a little bit boring by the end. And that the story and characters and stuff are like,
game.
yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, apparently the story was like decent concept, but like not executed particularly well, where you don't really care about any of the side characters, because they just introduce a lot of them too fast and all that kind of stuff. So,
that's the thing. Like when they first revealed this game, and it was like in the very beginning, like when I was like, what the heck even is this? Like, didn't even know if it was a first party thing or anything like that.
Yep.
I was like, this looks cool, but I never for a second thought like this will have a story. Like
right.
I don't know why, but it was just like I never even considered it having a story.
Yep.
So I did not care even a little bit about that. And I guess that confirms that I will continue to not care into its release.
True. And so, yeah, so all that, like, it seems like it'll be a good game for the people who like this kind of game, or a decent game for that, but like just overall not the bestest or whatever. But the other kind of funny thing about this that I thought was, have you seen any of this stuff on... just they're claiming literally every single video, it seems like, that has just anything with Daemon X Machina in it.
Yeah, so
including
I looked
reviews
into that
and
a little
stuff.
bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like a weird situation, because when a video gets claimed, it tells you who claimed it. Yeah. And it doesn't say it's Nintendo, but it is Nintendo.
No,
it is.
I think
it's Marvelous.
Yes.
That's claiming them.
Right.
But Nintendo's the publisher. So they're the ones that like is behind that decision. So like Marvelous is saying, like, for at least their US like social media accounts and stuff, and European social media accounts, they're saying that like that's not us, we're trying to figure it out, we're talking to Nintendo now to try to see what's going on. Like the only game that we have any type of like policy against like uploading content for is Stella something,
Fate Extella, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's not so Marvelous here and Marvelous Entertainment Japan are operated somewhat separately, and so it's Marvelous, because I saw them in some other posts where they were saying, that's our Japan branch that's doing it, and so they're the ones that are actually, and they're like, we're working with them to try to like get them to fix their policy and get better copyright policies. But it's funny because the US or UK or wherever it's based, because Marvelous is like, I saw them
talking about that, and they said that it was because of Nintendo, because they said that like all the messaging that I saw, somewhere in the tweet they said Nintendo's the publisher, so that said to me that it was Nintendo that was like enforcing the whole situation.
I think my impression just from all the ones that I saw was that even if it's Nintendo that's enforcing it, that it's Marvelous that like is making Marvelous Japan that's like making it happen. But in any case, whoever's doing it, they need to stop.
Yes.
Because like it's funny because they'll reply and be like, I mean, people can still make videos on it, they just won't be able to monetize them. And it's like, okay, well, everybody who has channels where, like, honestly, IGN, Game Explain, like, or whatever, any channels that do reviews to make money and like to earn a living,
people that are do it. Being salaried
yes.
to make this review are not going to earn their salary.
Yes, exactly. So like that's just a crazy policy, and I can't help but wonder if it's just antiquated policy for the sake of policy. Like that's just, they're like, well, no one should make money off of our video game, we're gonna make money off our video game. Like maybe it's that, or it's that they were like, the game's maybe not going to go over super well, so it's like to be protective over it. But I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think it's just them having bad policies.
Yeah, I mean, like this. When does this game count? On the 17th or something?
No, it comes
like
out
that?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, which is yesterday for everybody listening.
Well, yeah, true. But still,
yeah.
Like I would have thought that they would have did like the review, like for a game that they're like trying to like, like get ahead of bad reception.
Yep.
I would have thought that they were doing like a day of review embargo.
Yes, right, exactly. Because the reviews came out on Wednesday, so 2 days ahead of time, which usually is like, that means they're pretty confident in it,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always mean that, but like most of the time, if they're not really confident about it, yeah, exactly, day of embargo and stuff where like sweep those under the rug, get as many pre-orders in as you can, and whatever. So it's very interesting. I'm curious if even in the future, like if these copyright claims will stop appearing for the first time after the game launches, but it seems like maybe not, because like even Nintendo with Mario Maker way back in the day, like after Mario Maker was out, obviously there was a lot of issues with like people doing that. So
okay, so I looked at this tweet thread
from
Andre Seegers of Game Explain. And their first tweet, they said these content ID claims are issued by Marvelous Inc. in Japan for Daemon X Machina, which is published by Nintendo. Ad revenue support must be disabled for the video. The content ID claims received impose that rule. And then Andre said something about like, this is dumb, it's stupid, and then somebody replied and it's like, yeah, it is stupid. And then they replied again and said, reaching out to Nintendo, again adding, who are the publisher, may help as they used to whitelist outlets. But as an FYI, for the games we, in quotes, in parentheses, Marvelous Europe, publish, we do not have restrictions. Exception being Fate Extella Link, which has a story restriction at the request of IP holders.
Interesting.
So it seems like a whole lot of passing the buck, and we don't really know who's behind it. But at the same time, like,
and it almost even sounds like it's not necessarily Nintendo that's doing it, but like Nintendo would be able to force their hand, where like, because they're like, there's no way to get a hold of Marvelous Japan, so just reach out to Nintendo and get them
which
to do
is
it.
weird.
I don't know.
That would be weird.
Super weird.
They're like, hey, we're Marvelous, but like we're not that Marvelous. You got to go to Nintendo,
hopefully
and then instead of us talking to our own company internally, you got to talk to a different company and have them talk to our company.
And AJ is frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you're back. Cool.
I was scared for a second.
No, you're good. Yeah, it froze on my side. I was like, what's going on? But you know what? We all good up in here. I kept saying some words to fill the space, so.
I said some words too, so you'll figure that out and edit.
I'll figure it out in post. Might even leave it in, because you know what, everybody? This is just the way it goes. We'll see how that happens. But speaking of things happening, Fire Emblem got an update. This is just a small update for you guys, just to say some words, and honestly, partly just for a selfish reason, because one thing I think in here is fun. Fire Emblem update. There's a maddening mode coming for everybody, which is just a harder difficulty, besides hard. And so that's cool. And then also the Wave 2 for the expansion pass is coming. You can kind of look at all the details of stuff that's in there, but there's like more items and some...
See, I didn't even know that there was an expansion pass for this game.
They didn't market it a whole lot. Yeah. Like, I knew about it, but not... It's just not like listed anywhere. I mean, it is listed places, but...
What is it?
I think it's kind of similar to... Well, not going to be as much as the Xenoblade. Somewhere between Breath of the Wild and Xenoblades, it seems like. Where like,
so is there any story stuff?
In this wave, there are more like auxiliary battles.
New auxiliary battle, background music, valuable items with stat boosts.
I think the further we get into the DLC, I think towards the end there's going to be some story stuff. Just out of context. A pair of glasses. Boy, howdy.
That's part of the expansion pass, apparently.
That's right. But yeah, that stuff. Yeah, so I don't even look up what's in the rest of it. I just know that there is an expansion pass. So yeah, there's probably more story stuff way down the road, which I wonder if that would fix any of our... Not fix any of our gripes, but like the ones with like, you know, how any of the relationship stuff doesn't really materialize till the end.
Oh yeah,
maybe
like
some of that would get
post
patched
stuff
in.
where you do get a kid.
Could be. Could very well be.
Who knows, man?
So, but yeah, that's fun. But the thing, honestly, one of the reasons I put it in here was Byleth, which is the main character, which I called him something different in my game, but nevertheless, his voice.
What did you call him?
I just kind of made up some words and letters and called him Artreus, which is not a real name, but just seemed right for some reason. But Byleth got a new voice actor in English because there was some controversy with the first one. And the only reason I mention this again is because the guy that does the voice for other anime characters, including Genos in One Punch Man, and I like that because Genos is great and One Punch Man is great.
I still haven't finished that show, and the only part of that show that I watched it in Japanese, so I don't know who you're talking about.
Actually, same. I've only seen it in Japanese either. No, I went back and started rewatching the first season in English, but then the second season came out, so didn't do that.
They gotta put the English dub on Netflix because I'm not paying for Hulu again. Are they crazy?
Yeah, there's
I don't
too
even
many
know I'm
streaming
paying
services.
for Netflix because I don't watch it.
Yeah, this is true. So that stuff, there you go. And then second to last bit of news, but this one is pertinent for us. Sakurai talked about Smash and that stuff, as he is wont to do. And so here's the quote from Nintendo Life on all this stuff. Super Smash Bros. Series director Masahiro Sakurai has said that there's no way any future games in the series will feature as many fighters and series representations as Ultimate, fittingly describing it as the ultimate collaboration title. In his
call BS.
In his Japanese Famitsu column, which has been translated by Push Dustin and Nokolo, Sakurai says that the type of game Smash Ultimate has become is unprecedented. His words come soon after it was revealed that the game will receive more DLC characters than had been previously promised. In the same column, Sakurai notes that he wants to put all of his efforts into Smash Bros. He mentions that while managing the team for DLC is much easier than the base game, there are still a lot of things to check. And despite the ongoing workload, he isn't working on any other games and isn't taking a long break from development. In an interesting side note, he also explains that he's now been working on Smash Bros. Development consistently for around 7 to 8 years, from the 3DS and Wii U games to Ultimate, something he describes as being like staying in the same match in an online game. Despite this, Sakurai considers working with so many different game franchises to be an honor and the perfect job for him, and that he's enjoying his work. The end.
See, this is why I don't trust anything this man says. Because Sakurai, he goes all over the place, dude. One second he's like, I hate this job, please stop asking me to do it. And the next second he's like, this is the best thing ever, I'm the perfect man for this job, please just like let me do it forever and nothing else.
There you go. I do feel like, I wonder how much, at least hopefully comparatively, of a break doing the DLC stuff is. I don't really know, to be perfectly honest.
I figure it's kind of like how some weeks we get Nintendo Directs and videos are easier. You know? Like, we still got to make the video.
Right.
But it's easier than, like, completely, like, you know, ideating something from nothing.
Yep. This is true. Yeah, I don't know. So this stuff, I guess the main questions that, you know, that we have that this apparently answers is you know, is Sakurai going to work on something, or is he working on something in the background that's not a Smash Bros. Game? Apparently not. And then B, will future Smash Bros. Games have all of the characters or all the same characters or as many or any of that kind of stuff? You say you don't believe him on that second part?
Yeah, no, I don't believe him. I think one of two things. Either they're just like, this is just going to be the Smash Brothers game.
Yep.
And they're just like, it's on Nintendo Switch.
Kind of like
Overwatch
or whatever.
Yeah. And they'll just keep adding characters for forever.
Yep.
Until one day there is a reboot and they're like, we're starting with the original 8 again, and then like going from there. And then at some point it'll be another, like 20 years from now, it'll be another novelty thing of like, hey, remember that time we did all the characters? Doing it again.
Yep.
Like, nothing is permanent in that regard, especially with Sakurai.
Yeah.
Especially with him.
I do think if, a couple different options. One, like you said, if this is a platform game, then obviously it's going to continue having more characters than it does now because we're going to get more DLC characters. So, like, that's kind of obvious. If it's an Overwatch type situation or, World of Warcraft or whatever, again, those are pretty different. But if it's that sort of situation, then we will have more characters. On the flip side, if the next console doesn't just have Ultimate come over to it and it has a new Smash game, I do think that one will not have this many characters and won't have these characters necessarily, and will, who's to say whatever that one's going to be. But I don't think it'll be like Ultimate or something like that without just being a platform kind of thing. But that, I think, again, like you said, way down the road, probably there's going to be another Smash Bros. Game in however many years that does that again.
Like, I don't think that we'll ever go back to, like, in terms of like quantity, right? Like, I don't think they're like going from 80 characters to now we only have 25 characters.
Yeah.
Like, they might be like, probably okay, like I think if anything they'll axe like a lot of the third party people.
Yeah.
And then like add different party people as time goes on.
And newer
like,
first party people that haven't made it yet or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I would guess probably we'd go down to like, after this one, probably more like 60 or 50 something or whatever, closer to Smash 4 kind of numbers comparatively. But nevertheless, curious.
But at the same time, I think that the only way that they'll even do that is if they think of some other like marketing thing.
Yeah, right.
Like how the slogan was everyone's here. Like whatever the slogan would be that time. If they can't think of something, they'll just port over Ultimate.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because otherwise you'll just have you'll lose a lot of people in the same way that you kind of did with Melee, where a lot of people will be like, well, I want the original kind of version of the game, so I'm going to play Ultimate, which is like the original with everybody in it, and like obviously different mechanics than other ones had. But if they're going to do a reboot that's really at all different, then they're likely to lose a lot of people, or at least have people kind of teeter-tottering between the two. Yeah. So,
which, I mean, that game will have to be really good competitively for them to do that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I mean, every Smash Brothers game sells more than the last one, despite the fact that like Melee people are like, Melee is the best game.
I guess
and
except
only now
for
is there starting to be like crossover.
Yeah, only because other than Smash 4, I guess, except for unless you count Smash 4, 3DS, and Wii U as one, then in that case that sold more, I guess.
I mean, it's one game.
That's true.
They're both the same game.
You're not wrong at all, I guess.
They just have some different stages.
Yeah.
And like two different.
I mean, I guess they're as much the same game sort of as like Red and Blue are, except for just on different platforms.
Right.
So there you go.
Like if Spider-Man for PlayStation 1, Game Boy Color, and N64 are all the same game, then Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS are all the same game.
Are those considered the same game?
Yes.
That's really funny.
If you look at the Wikipedia page, it has the platforms listed.
Yeah, I guess because like Aladdin for the SNES, Genesis, and Game Boy and stuff, like those are all considered the same thing, and like obviously that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So that's that. Man. And then the last bit of news that we have for today is Universal Studios. We got an official announcement of stuff for Universal Studios Japan. The Nintendo World coming there. So yeah,
So I was surprised by this, by the rides that are or the IP that they chose to go with, other than Mario Kart.
Yep.
Mario Kart's again makes sense, but like the Yoshi stuff, like what?
It's Yoshi's Adventure, which I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're riding on Yoshi's back, that makes sense because like Mario World. I mean, you're always riding on Yoshi's back. So like I could see that, I guess, if it feels like a Mario level where you're just running around on Yoshi's back, I guess. But no, I thought the same thing where like we've seen mock-ups for like DK mines or something along those lines, or even Wario's gold mine would make sense or something like that. So the Yoshi inclusion does seem like kind of a weird left turn.
And like, if it's Super Nintendo World, why is it just Mario stuff, dude?
Exactly what I was thinking is because the other ones, I feel like we've gotten stuff where we found out that some of the other ones, like Universal Orlando or wherever else, is going to have some non-Mario stuff. But again, that's all leaks and speculation, I suppose. Whereas this, 100%, this is all Mario stuff. Like they mentioned Bowser, they mentioned Peach, all that, but
and, like Peach's Castle would be so like is Universal going to turn it into Disney World?
Yeah, I mean, but like where's Link? Honestly, if I just had Link doing something,
you mean Boy Zelda?
Boy Zelda, where's Boy Zelda?
I don't know, man.
Yep, I'm gonna miss him.
It's messed up that they
did him dirty like that.
I let Boy Zelda into the park.
That's right. It comes out, or it's going to be spring of next year that it's going to open. So that'll be fun. I won't be able to go there because it's all the way in silly old Japan. But I would happily go to the one.
Send us to Japan.
Yeah, that's about the same cost value as the $60 games that some of which they haven't been giving us anyway.
So
good point. You make a really good point. So there's that.
Also, they're doing the magnetic wristband thing for like gamifying the park or whatever, dude, and you link it with your Nintendo Switch system. Potentially.
I don't really have much of an idea of what that's going to look like besides maybe it gives you gold points on your, like, I don't know. Like, that just seems interesting to do that. I mean, the big picture for anybody that hasn't heard that is you go there, you got a wristband that's magnetic thingy, and then various things is it just from entry? No, it's like you win points from doing games or activities or stuff around there. And like the more stuff you do in there, the more points you get on your wristband, and then that connects to your Switch somehow. And then the more you go back, the more somethings you get from that. But who knows what that somethings is?
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna say it's going to be kind of lame. I don't really know. I was going to make an actual guess and I couldn't think of anything, so I just went with that. Kind of lame.
Well, regardless, I don't know about the Japan one potentially, because like I want to go to Japan.
Yeah, I mean it would be dope if I had the money and time, I would do it for sure. Otherwise, I'm a lot closer to Florida, so whenever that happens,
exactly. Like Florida is 100%. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Japan. Tentative, maybe.
Yep. And my wife really wants to go to Harry Potter World as well, which is also Universal. So like, whenever Nintendo World comes out, that would be an easy trip for both of us to get stuff that we like out of it. And she likes Nintendo too, and I
went to Harry Potter World, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. This big castle place.
You're a wizard, Harry.
People flying around on brooms. It's like a $40 wand that didn't do anything.
Oh man! It does stuff. It's invisible to the naked eye, but it does it.
You're telling me, dude.
It turns air into slightly different air. There you go. Something like that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the Simpsons World too.
Oh yeah, I love the Simpsons.
And I got the Flaming Moe's thing.
Nice, man. I would definitely do that. So yeah,
but like Universal and Disney back then for me, now it's like,
oh yeah, because you lived around there.
Yeah, it's like more cool now. Mm-hmm. But like back then, it was like, oh, I don't want to go there again.
Did you go? Because you were in Orlando, right? Is that where?
Yeah. Well, right outside of, I was in Winter Park But I
Okay.
was like right in between Winter Park and Orlando. So like I was in Orlando technically.
Did you get
like, my
local
zip code
discounted
was-
tickets? Because I know they.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. At least. That.
It's still like 70 something or 80. It's a lot of
Goodness.
money still.
Yeah.
But
A little
only
better.
because like you can get like an annual pass and that's like I don't know like $500 or
Oh
something
my
like that.
goodness. I mean, like
Yeah,
if you're
but,
gonna go
like-
a lot, then yeah, that's
Yeah.
worth it. But otherwise, that's so many monies. But again, if you're gonna go a
Yeah,
lot, there you go.
man. It costs to go to the place, you know.
It does cost to go to the places. This is very true. And on that note, we've got some comments from your video that you made this week. It's not on the same
Yes,
note.
I
It's a different
did.
note.
I think this week, next week, I'm not gonna make a Pokemon video. I'm gonna continue the rest of these videos later.
Cool.
I'm gonna make something else.
Nice. That is acceptable. But yeah, you make a video, and you all know this, but when you comment on our videos, we try to take some of those comments and talk about them on the podcast. And so we've got some of those here. AJ picked these ones out, and we're going to read them and talk about them. Here we go. First one is from M567DK. Yeah, I've got a friend with that same name. The games may not be the biggest seller to the Pokemon franchise, but it is the biggest marketer to showcase these new Pokemon outside the anime and manga. If it isn't broke, then don't fix it. Is an
Okay, wait. Let me address this.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So-
there's no real way to quantify that. I feel like the instinct for people is to say like the biggest advertiser for this is the video games because like that's how I know about it. But that doesn't mean that that's the case for kids. You know,
right.
Because like when I was a kid. Not every toy I owned was because it was on TV. Sometimes I'm just in Toys R Us and I see a toy that looks cool and I buy the toy.
Yeah.
So it's like, or maybe a kid's like my niece. She knew what Pikachu was. She's not playing video games.
Yep.
So it's like she saw it because she has Netflix and Pikachu's on the front page.
Yep.
So it's like I don't know about that. I think that's like confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Also, like to say outside of the anime and manga is like saying like the it's the next biggest thing for Disney other than their theme park. Like yes, it's another multi-million-dollar situation. You know, so it's like I don't know, man. I don't know.
This is true.
The numbers say different.
What was the number one thing for them was...
Number one is merch. Like,
yeah.
Merchandise. And then like the games and the card game are like
pretty close.
Yeah, like the same margin of error.
Yep. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, if it isn't broke, then don't fix it is an interesting mantra if the games were still on the handheld systems of old, but they're on much higher resolution. I mean, they could at the very least try to change some of the NPC players in the game or slightly update the Pokemon into a bit more emotions and movement. Say what you want about... Go for it.
Yeah, continue. It's all the same.
Say what you want about Pokemon Let's Go, but at least they tried to change things a bit. Also, while there are those that lack the Game Freak touch, doesn't make them any less. It also shows that maybe Game Freak should hire more people to develop their core Pokemon games a bit better in terms of quality.
I don't disagree with that. I've made a lot of videos saying that they should do that, but also, like, I can understand why they don't. Because, again... that would be them dumping a whole lot of money into something that isn't a proven thing for them. Like they don't know that if they hire 200 more developers, that those developers are going to gain that money back. You know, so it's like it just doesn't make sense for them to do that. Like the Pokemon games are not failing; they still sell.
Yeah.
So why reinvent the wheel when the one that you have is doing what it's intended to? Like we may feel like, oh man, like these games are stagnating, blah blah blah. And again, like I made so many videos talking about how I want Pokemon to change. You were literally watching one that I was talking about how I want Pokemon to change.
Yeah.
So like I'm not saying that I want them to go by the whole like if it ain't, even when I said if it ain't broke, it was something that I said was trite. I don't like the fact that people say that, but it's true. You know, like they don't need to change anything if everybody's still buying these games in droves. So I agree with the sentiment, but I also don't think that like that's the law of the land, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because what we want versus what the masses want aren't necessarily the same. And then the question is, who do they cater towards? You know, because it seems like in every iteration, they do change some things, but they just change not as much stuff as some of us would like, or that kind of thing. Even as far as like art style, like it's definitely different from, or it looks a lot better than the other ones, but it's also pretty similar at the same time.
It's an evolved version of the art style that they've had with like Sun and Moon. It's like a new iteration of that.
Yeah. The concept, it's like same kind of concept, but just looks, there's higher fidelity to it or something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that said, I don't know. Hard to say exactly, because I think it's coming from the stance of like what would be good for them as a business versus what we want as a group of fans, that we can't necessarily say how large that group of fans is that wants that for it, is just coming from two completely different standpoints. We're like,
because these are like the same fans that again are assuming that like they as people are the majority, like all Pokemon fans are like the video game fans, and that's what they like most, so like do that, It's like, but no, that's not the case, because like I don't give a third of a crap about Pokemon cards at this point in my life, but they're just as popular. So it's like that just like illustrates, and I'm a huge Pokemon guy. I mean, as we all know,
we silo ourselves off in so many ways to where like I honestly don't even know what, like, because I'm in the place or the Nintendo side of video game YouTube and stuff. I don't even know what the PlayStation side of that looks like. Like if there is much of it at all. I assume there is, but like
who's the PlayStation wolf then?
Yeah, right, exactly. So like, and I mean, there's channels that I follow that do mixtures of those kinds of things. But I don't know what that side of YouTube looks like. And that's PlayStation versus Nintendo. Like they're very close, all things considered, like, like within kinds of games and all that kind of stuff. So similarly, it's hard to say what groups outside of the ones that we're in are going to tend to like, just because that's the way algorithms work. And it's, we're being tailored towards on, as far as marketing goes from social media sites and all that stuff. So like, which can be good, can be bad, it depends on kind of how you use that. But it's, I all that said, it would be, I agree that they should do, or that it would be great for them to do more things and put more effort into certain areas. But that's also not to say that it would just intrinsically be the better business decision at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of like how, like, if I said I would love $1 million for doing nothing, that'd be great. Probably wouldn't be smart for whoever gave me that $1 million, but I'm not going to like disagree that they should do that, right? And that's what this is. It's like, I would like for them to dump more money into the games, but like that doesn't make it the smartest business decision for them to make.
Yep.
And I don't run a multi-billion-dollar company, so like, who am I to tell them how to do it?
I mean, I guess also, and as we go into these next comments too, the topic was making the perfect art style for a Pokemon game. And I guess that question, if we're taking that outside of it, thinking of any of the business stuff, which I don't know that you can, because it impacts it. Like, if we're talking realistically about changing the art style one way or another, then that's going to impact the game in other regards, or the business in other regards, where they'll have to do things differently no matter what. But I guess I wonder what the perfect one does mean, all things considered. If that's just what we want, what's best for the business, I don't know. It
just depends on like how they look at it, I think.
Yeah.
Because like really any of the ones that I propose would be good in a different way, right? Like if they did like a realistic art style, that's more merch.
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, we're going to do a whole new merch line of Pokemon that look like this, just like they did for Detective Pikachu, like the real looking Detective Pikachu with the fur and all that stuff. They have those as merch. So they could do that. But at the same time, if they did like an animated style, then they can like homogenize their business more, where it's like it all looks the same. Like it's all just Pokemon. We don't have like 13 different versions of what Pikachu should look like and different mediums and stuff like that. This is what we look like now. So like that could be a plus. Also, it's like having that like effect of like, oh my god, this game looks incredible. Like nobody's like really surprised what Sword and Shield looks like. It looks like what the last game looks like, but HD, or H or D. So I think that would be a plus for them too, just in terms of like buzz of being like, oh my god, this game looks incredible for whatever reason, whether it be realistic or animated. That would get that like that reaction of like, this game looks freaking dope. I don't think anybody's really doing that with Sword and Shield as is.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks fine, but it's not like knock your socks off, Etika reaction, breaking stuff in your room, you know?
Yeah, it was, when I saw it, I was like, oh, nice, awesome, cool. But it wasn't like, yeah, just completely mind-blowing at the same time. I do wonder, I was just thinking about this, and I guess this isn't even particularly related, but I do wonder how much merch has increased, because that's the number one selling thing now by a good margin. If that was always the case throughout, like, I feel like Pokemon merch in the mainstream media really came back in 2016 with Pokemon Go. Like, when that came out, it was something where it wasn't just Pokemon fans that were getting it. It was like just, I don't know, broader than that, where like at Walmart you just see Pikachu shirts again for the first time in a long time. And
so that specific chart that I had, that's all time. So like that's all time revenue.
Interesting.
Which I think all time revenue is like $90 billion or something like that.
Very interesting.
So I don't know how much of that is like, who knows? Maybe like 50% of that is in
right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like 1996 to 2000, and then the other 50% it's like 2016 to 2019.
Yep. Okay, interesting. Well, here, we'll move on to the next comment and keep talking about all this. John Francis asks, what if we do a little bit of everything? Some realism, maybe making some of the Pokemon smoother, more scaly, etc. Some animation, maybe more along the effect side when Pokemon attack. And some keeping the regular style, where we keep characters and clothes and all that stuff going on. Tell me what you think.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Like mixing a little bit of all of it. I think like Pokken kind of does that, but it's not like as diegetic.
Yeah,
in a way. Like the characters look like anime, you know, like just like they're like cardboard cutouts in the world.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Pokemon, and they look all real and stuff like that. If they make it more diegetic and like everything is like within the world, and then it's just like you know, like not like a Blue's Clues situation where it's like you're animated and I'm real.
Yeah, right.
But more like integrated than that, but still have some elements that are like kind of cartoonish, and then some elements that are kind of real. Like the environments, they have like kind of like how Dragon Quest does, where it's like the environments look more detailed than like the people do.
Right. Honestly, like to me, Dragon Quest is a great kind of direction to be aiming towards between the two.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because it looks pretty good and just appealing and stuff. I mean, then again, I still think Sword and Shield looks pretty good, and there's still time for it to look even better by the time it comes out. Who's to say, you know, there's a little bit, I mean, it's going to look very similar to what it is now, but like small things could still make some improvements. But next up, Jack Hall says, I would prefer just to have the graphics look better, but hand-drawn art style would be cool. So would a realistic one that doesn't look like Detective Pikachu, but others that you showed. I think certain games with a realistic art style still look good, like Star Fox Adventure and Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
So I thought this was interesting, because I wouldn't think either one of those games have a realistic art style. They're stylized still.
Yeah,
like they're not really shooting for realism.
But I guess at the time, I mean, yeah, because they're not. I mean, like Link's face or whatever, it's still a pretty anime face and all that stuff. But at least comparatively, maybe the environments are trying to be more realistic as well. Yeah, because the characters obviously aren't. Because I mean, there's no such. Well, not to say that there being such a thing as something means it can't look realistic.
Yeah, because like there's no such thing as Pikachu, but they still made him look realistic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I have a poster of Detective Pikachu right up here next to me, and it's very cute.
And you can see it. Too bad. Too bad. Well, you can't if you go to this video.
That's right. But yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. I mean, yeah, I think at the time, though, those were trying to look more, quote unquote, realistic anyway than other things. But I also wouldn't necessarily say that I still think they look particularly good, like for a first.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think they look good.
I think they look good if you've played them before. And like, I mean, I played Twilight Princess for the first time in 2016. So that said, like, it still looked fine. Like, it didn't look bad, but it was just like,
yeah, but at the same time, you're also primarily a Nintendo gamer, so
Yes,
it's like your like your level of like acceptance is different.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not the same thing of like, yeah, this looks about like other games I've played, you know. Whereas like somebody that like only plays on PC, 4K on their freaking 155,000 frames per second setup, they're like, this looks gross.
Yeah. I mean because that's always like there's just always a race for it to look better and better and more realistic and stuff. And so like there's at some point we're getting closer to the point of kind of diminishing returns or whatever, where it's
I think we are.
I think as far as like still shots, like if you take a
I
still
think
shot of
next
certain
generation,
games, it's like
I think next generation they're going to do the same thing that they did last generation. Because last generation with Xbox 360, the marketing was like you could see the beads of sweat on the basketball player's face. And now this generation, everybody's like that looks stupid and gross, and I hate it. And anything that looks like that on any hardware is ugly.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing with this generation, because even at the beginning of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I'm like, this doesn't look that good. You know, like there's like the main thing that is like quantifiable with this generation is like, oh, there's more like reflective surfaces, and there's like more particle effects, and like they're able to render more things. But there's nothing that's like crazy groundbreaking from this generation to the last generation. And that's like, it's going to be like death by 1,000 cuts, where 3 generations from now it's going to look like revolutionary and like this huge generational leap. But like people are still going to look at it by like that small thing being like the deal breaker for the last thing, where it's like, oh, you don't have ray tracing, so you look like garbage.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, because some of the games like, I don't know, God of War and Cyberpunk 2077, like those are ones that look really good right now. And I mean, definitely they will look less as comparatively good in the future, but I think even the difference between next generation and this one, as far as some like the best looking games in this generation, will still hold up pretty well. But even then, there's some games like on the Xbox 360 and PS3 and stuff like that that are like, okay, those look still pretty good now, but it's considerably worse than before. So I mean, like if you're chasing after that, that's just going to be a hard.
It's always going to look worse than the last thing.
Yeah. So I mean, like those games, Star Fox Adventure, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, we can think they look great. It's not to say that you can't think you like the way they look on a subjective level, but that's not to say that if they were going for realistic, this looks like what the world really looks like, then now that we look at it, it doesn't look realistic at all for today's standards. So
it's just like set a goalpost that you can hit, not one that's constantly moving. So like I think, especially for something like Pokemon, where it's like based on this like painterly art style from the first game,
I mean, just for the side note, I think if it were up to me, I would love for the next game to go in a more cel-shaded anime looking art style. Like just make it feel like, I mean, that's all I've ever wanted, I think, is to feel like I'm in the world of the anime.
Exactly. I wanted to, and I've talked about this on the video, where it's like I would think it's equally as dope if they just made it straight up look like the anime, but also if it was just like a game that looked like Ken Sugimori drew it, that would be dope. That would be so dope to have that art style, where it's like the whole thing, you know, like it looks like watercolors. I would be 100% down for that.
100%. And then the last comment we got is from G-Pimp-Yo1. Cool. I prefer the cartoon art style. Intelligent Systems did a fantastic job at making Fire Emblem in the anime art style, so I see no reason why Game Freak can't put that same level of effort into Pokemon, other than the Pokemon Company, which doesn't care about the games. Maybe a little bit of an overstatement, but you know. I think I'm also curious with Fire Emblem, because Koei Tecmo was involved in that too. I wonder how much involvement they had in.
It sounds like
various bits.
Koei Tecmo did most of the work with
as far as
Fire
like
Emblem.
graphics-y stuff and
most things. Like from how they talked about that game. When they did like interviews and stuff like that, it sounded like Intelligent Systems was basically like an advisor
Interesting.
on that. which is what, because I was going to do the Mario Maker video when everybody was like hashtag remake Thousand Year Door, and that was like the thing that actually made me want to do it, because people were like, oh, because Arlo. It's like, I don't freaking care about what other people are doing. I want to do it because I saw this interview, and I like, maybe they're working on a Mario Maker game, because like, why else would they put? Oh yeah, well yeah, Paper Mario, a Paper Mario game. Yeah. Because like, why else wouldn't they put their people on freaking Fire Emblem?
That's interesting. I mean, I feel like, so like, because that said, it also makes sense with just the breadth of that game. I'm sure a lot of what Intelligent System did was more like just the writing and stuff like that in general. There's so much writing that went into that game, because there's 3 different paths with a whole bunch of different, like, you know, dialogue trees for different people, and depending on what you do. So like, that kind of stuff is what I think Intelligent Systems in that case, based on what you said at least, would want to probably have retained. I don't know if
that makes sense either, because like I was talking about, well, I've talked about a couple times with Pokemon, is like, not everybody does that, you know. Like, if they're like, okay, like, our hands are free of doing the nitty-gritty development stuff, so all hands on writing the story. Like, not everybody at Intelligent Systems is a writer,
right? No, yeah, not everybody. I just mean in terms of like never mind, it doesn't matter, I'm just saying some words. But as far as this comment goes, yes, cartoon art style, if you mean like anime art style, like the anime, the show, I just said that. Yes, I would be down for that. That would be the direction I would like to go as well. It would be interesting as far as like doing that in a 3D way, like you said, because even like Dragon Ball FighterZ probably does the best job of any games of doing that, but it's a 2D, you know, aspect game. So even though there are 3D models that exist in that world, like, it's, you know, you only see it from 2D. So implementing that into a 3D world, I think Dragon Quest probably.
Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm does it really good. That's a 3D game.
I need to check that out, because I don't even know.
The 4th one specifically.
Yep.
All of them do it, but the 4th one looks really good.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Any more thoughts on your video in these comments?
I like making poker videos. They're great.
Yeah. Good stuff. We've got some more comments from the video that I made, and here we go. Here they are. First up, Squantle says, I love Mad World, a really underrated gem on the console that needs more attention. Although it's been said 100 times, enough time has passed, in my opinion, for a Wii Sports/Sports Resort Collection remaster on Switch. Since New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe came out on Switch and did fairly well, I'm not really worrying about how the Wii in the name could affect sales, etc. Yes, I know Logan brought this up before, but I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring.
I agree.
Yes.
I've never played Mad World, so I'd be down to play it on Switch.
Yep.
And as far as the Wii Sports thing, I don't think that Wii being in the branding would affect sales, but I think that Nintendo just seems scared for the most part. Even though it is weird that they did do the Wii U, the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and they just kept that name. So, like, who knows, man?
I mean, I feel like, I think the Wii part being in the name would turn them off more than the U being in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. But even then, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the kind of gimmick.
At the same time, everybody had that game.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
Like, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, to most people, the reason why it is a smart idea is because most people didn't own that game by virtue of the fact that, a third of the people that own a Switch owned Wii U.
Yeah, right.
Whereas everybody 2 times over, 3 times over owned a Wii compared to how many people own a Switch right now.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think Nintendo seems like they're doing an okay job in some regards at bringing over their old games that are I don't know, important IP or something like that. And that's not to say that the Wii stuff isn't an important IP, but for some reason, I think because of its like gimmick-based stuff, they kind of leave that maybe on the consoles that it's on. I don't know.
I don't know if they care about that. I just think I think it's less about bringing stuff that they think is important and more about bringing stuff that they think is important that didn't get a fair shake before.
I mean, that's why we're getting all this Wii U stuff. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting any of it the same way that, honestly, we haven't gotten. I mean, we got Xenoblade Chronicles kind of probably because of that, because it just didn't really get a fair shot.
It came out when people were just done with their Wii.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what exactly this whole video is about as far as other games, is just like ones that just really didn't get a good shot because they were, their placement on the Wii, their timing, whatever, any kinds of things.
Yeah, because like anything along the same lines as the games you included in your video were either games that no matter when they came out, they weren't going to matter because the majority of people that bought Wiis didn't buy a game for their Wii. Right. Like their game came with their Wii. Yeah. Either they bought the Wii with Wii Sports and that was it. They bought a $250 copy of Wii Sports. Or they bought Mario Kart, you know, and that was just the game that they had. And then there's like people like us that's like, I'm going to play the Mario Galaxies and Xenoblade Chronicles and the Pokemon Battle Revolutions or whatever the heck. But most people were not those people.
But that said, no, I've been saying, I mean, since the Switch came out, like, I like that they haven't, I can't remember if we started saying this before or not, but I like that they haven't leaned into the gimmick stuff. Like, it's there's gimmick stuff, but that's not like their primary market. They just have catered towards console and core gamers, you know, like just like we want. And
at the same time, I think they have, but not in the same way. Because like if you notice, like a lot of like the shooters and stuff like that that come to Switch, they all have motion aiming.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I'm more saying like, you know, but it's still actual games as opposed to experiences or whatever, which the Wii was like mostly sold on experiences rather than games. So like that's great, and I'm very glad that that's the case, is that we're getting games. But like I'd love for them to dip their toes back in that pool as well, which it seems like maybe now with the RingFit Adventure. I mean, already they were doing with Labo a little bit, but you know, that kind of went the way it did.
I mean, I think they're doing it in the best way possible now. Yeah. Because, like, there's no real reason to do, or I'm not going to say no real reason, because they could do it because it's cheaper and it'll sell really well. But, like, the best case scenario is to, like, integrate that stuff into an actual full-fledged experience. Because, like, the people that are going to want to, like, play, like, the gimmicky, quote-unquote, stuff are, like, they're going to want to do that in a full-fledged game too. Yeah. So like, why not just incorporate it in the game that you want to play even outside of that? I
mean, maybe it's more intimidating in a full game versus as like mini game selection kinds of stuff.
I don't think full game necessarily has to mean like a 90-hour.
No, I don't mean
like
that.
Splatoon is a full game.
Yes,
but you can still pick that up and play it for 3 minutes a day.
Yeah,
and
but
just
like
be done.
for, you know, I guess I mean more like getting the people back in the door, like the grandmas or whatever. That kind of thing. Like having something where it's just like mini game collection of, you know, such and such. Like, I mean,
put like Brain Age on there. Grandma's like Brain Age.
But like honestly, yeah, Sports Resort Remastered or something like that, where it's pretty much the same kind of thing, or like Switch Sports Resort, like that kind of thing. I think now is a good time to finally bring that over in this lifetime. They haven't done a
lot of that.
I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like they very well could now. And it would be
I don't even mean the type of games. I just mean using the Switch branding.
Right. No, yeah.
Like everybody thought that they would. Like where it's like Super Mario, switch it up. You know, like Yoshi's switching you up, man.
Yoshi's flipping island.
Yoshi switched everything.
Yoshi's Mother Island. That one always cracked me up. Like, I can't remember. I think I might have tweeted that at some point. Somebody else did, I'm sure, as well. But when somebody was saying,
me and Logan were talking about that on the podcast.
Because when they said Yoshi's Flippin' Island, I was like, oh, well, they tuned it down from the more M-rated version. Yoshi's Mother Island. But yes, good comment, Squantle. As far as Mad World, the one thought that I had is like, I would have said that I think just the like pure black and white art style might somewhat hold it back in some regards, like just marketing wise or whatever. But Return of the Obra Dinn is like super popular, just black and white, kind of 3D pixel art game. So
yeah, but that's like super popular with the nerds, you know.
That's true. Mad World is a little bit of a different game.
Yeah, nerds don't have
A little
Switches.
bit more beating
Only
up a lot of
cool
people with
kids
lots of
have
bloods and
Switches,
stuff.
man.
But in any case, it would be cool if it came over, because you know what? There you go. Next comment. Screw Zelink, or Zelink, I don't know, says, I don't think Skyward Sword should be in there. Because I mentioned Skyward Sword at the end of my video.
How dare you?
I mean, I 100% at the end of the video, I was like, this one doesn't really deserve to be in there, but here it is anyway. So,
does it not, though?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I feel like there's a perfectly good case for it, as far as like it didn't.
It's a Zelda game, man.
Yeah, it didn't.
Even though Ocarina of Time, that one doesn't deserve to be anywhere. Because
I think Skyward Sword, like, my reasoning for it being in there was mostly just that, like, in the same regard, like, it has way more hype and popularity than any of these other franchises did, but comparatively to how well it could have sold if given other circumstances, I think it undersold by a lot. You know, I mean, that's not to say also that Zelda games haven't been Mario levels of sellers up until Breath of the Wild is the first one to like really do that. But
because before, like, a good Zelda game is like 7 million copies.
So like
there's like one other Zelda game that has gotten close to selling 10 million, which is Ocarina of Time. And even that didn't do it on its own. Like, it had the 3DS port and the Wii virtual console release and like all that crap.
So like, as far as Skyward Sword goes, I think like a lot of people did buy it for sure, but even the people that did get it, some of them didn't like it because of the motion controls kinds of stuff being in there. So like, as a game in and of itself, you know, I don't know how exactly they would do it outside of the motion controls. That's a whole other conversation. But I think there's different ways that game could be given a second chance, and a lot more people find out about it that would enjoy it, as well as people who just didn't really, you know, enjoy it at the time, maybe that could in other contexts or circumstances, even for a Zelda game.
I mean, they could do like Okami sort of situation, because that was like pretty dependent on motion controls on the
What's
Wii.
odd is that was a PS2 game first. So like it was, I'm pretty sure I looked it up before this video. So that was a PS2 game, and you just used I mean, yes, that's exactly a perfect game to just have those kind of differing, you know, you could either do motion control stuff or you can use the joysticks to do various action things. Because I've always thought that, like, with Skyward Sword, that you could just, I don't know, hold down ZL or something and then, you know, move around with one joystick, hold down a button, and then swipe with the other one, or do something like that. But who's to say? Jordan DeBest says that Wii is greater than GameCube.
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take. That's what I thought.
Are we talking about like removed from the fact that we can play any GameCube? Because like that's always a technicality. Like whenever I'm like I like DS more than 3DS, somebody immediately is like, but you could play DS games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously, I mean like removed from that.
Yeah. Because otherwise, the Wii U is the best console because you can play like all the virtual console games on it, but then also all the Wii games on it and stuff like that. Like you can't play GameCube.
Yeah, but you can't play all the GameCube games.
That's very true.
So rip that.
But yeah, so I mean, I think if we're taking them just face value, just what the Wii has to offer in its own. I mean, again, it's got the virtual console. So virtual console backwards compatibility aside, just Wii games for the Wii versus GameCube games for the GameCube, and just what the consoles are for themselves. Yeah, I just like where, even if there were a lot of good games on the Wii, I like where Nintendo's head was at for the GameCube a little bit more. It just feels more fun and quirky.
They did a lot of weird stuff, man. Yes. Mario was an NBA 2K.
Yep. So yeah, I would go GameCube over Wii pretty much any day, as far as like just that library and stuff, you know, Wind Waker and all that stuff, and like Twilight Princess was on there as well, and some other. I mean, Mario Galaxy is phenomenal, so that's a thing. But I still liked Mario Sunshine fine, moderately well.
Yeah.
So I mean, and lots of other games.
There's like probably a few individual games that I prefer on the Wii more than GameCube. Like I would prefer Battle Revolution over XD and Gale of Darkness because those games are stupid. But I mean, outside of that, for the most part, GameCube.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. Yeah. But Jordan the Best, I'm glad for you that the Wii also exists. So you can keep playing that. And then the last comment we got is from Skull Star Productions, and says, I would love to see Punch Out for Wii on Nintendo Switch. Love that game and would love to play it on a modern console. Also would love to see Muramasa the Demon Blade on Switch. Never picked it up for Wii, and I loved Dragon's Crown. So 2 of these games I've never even heard of. But
wait,
cool.
What? Are you talking about Muramasa and Dragon's Crown?
That's the ones. Never heard of those.
I thought you were saying Punch Out. And
crazy.
I was going to say, what?
I'm not that dumb. Not to say that you're dumb for not knowing Punch Out, but...
Arguable. But Punch Out, though.
Yep.
Yes. Also, like, come on, man, give Little Mac a game.
Yeah, seriously. I will say Nintendo has been doing a lot less of that than I was anticipating on the Switch. Like, figured
giving Little Mac a game?
That's exactly the one. No, but just like weird stuff, or like dipping into...
How dare you call giving Little Mac a game weird?
Yeah, you know what I mean. We're like bringing back older IPs, like F-Zero kinds of stuff, and doing that, like giving things another chance. I just really thought there would be more of that on the Switch, and maybe there's still time, but we're already seeing Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 and Mario Odyssey 2, maybe theoretically. I don't know. I'm just making that up because it seems like it's going to happen at some point. But like, we're already seeing that kind of stuff come back around. So like, I don't know. Are they not going to dip into their well of IPs that they really could?
I think they should.
I totally agree.
Smash Brothers, man.
Yep.
Like, at this point, Captain Falcon's a Smash Brothers character.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
he's been in more Smash Brothers games.
It doesn't make any sense to me that they don't do those things, because it seems like they finally got a successful I mean, I talked about this in my first Action Point video, I'm pretty sure. But they've got a successful console with people that are like actually, gonna buy games. So they should just do it. It's easy.
Just like do it, dude.
Yep. All that stuff. But that's it for comments on our videos, and now we've got a whole bunch of Q&A type stuff. First, we talk about the comments from last week's video. So if you have some comments on this video, you can leave it down in the comment section on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to it on podcast, go over to YouTube and leave comments there if you want. And then after that, we got some Q&A that we asked about. But here's some comments from last week. Gonna read some of them and say some words. Griffinix said, Max was right. The Kirby game was a 3DS game and no one remembers. I liked it on the 3DS and never spent $1 on it. Nintendo also did a good job giving to the premium currency. They offered passwords, and this seems to continue here as well. I'm not gonna lie though, when I heard they were doing a Kirby RPG, I got excited, but this game was a bit disappointing in that regard. It was super easy to get to the max level, which was 10 if I remember.
I don't even remember Max saying anything about this.
I think you just mentioned it when we talked about the Kirby game on Switch, the new, free-to-play one. He mentioned that it's very similar to a 3DS game of the same kind of ilk. And sure enough, it seems like that is the case. So
see, that just shows how much I listen to Max.
A whole lot.
I don't remember him ever saying anything about that. But
yeah,
I guess
if they did announce that also as an RPG, that's only kind of true. That doesn't really. I mean, it is, I guess, as far as you're leveling things up or whatever. But yeah, I would agree that would be disappointing if that was what you were expecting.
Yeah.
So Animated says, okay, we know that before Reggie retired from Nintendo, he stated that they was going with unpredictable characters for their lineup as DLC characters. So far, every character besides Banjo and Kazooie are popular Japanese franchises. My guess with the final DLC character for Smash is maybe a Dead or Alive or a Tekken character. I can see this happening. With the second wave of characters, I think Nintendo may focus on franchises that they may attempt to revive from their personal library, or maybe partner with a few other third-party companies to bring new life to some of their franchises. Beautiful Joe, Rayman, and maybe even a Digimon character, as weird as that would be. It's unpredictable, though. Also, AJ, you're wrong. Crash is greater than Spyro.
Nah, I'm sorry about it. Crash is garbage. It was a mistake. They accidentally made that game, and then they shipped it anyway, because that's how the stuff worked in the 90s.
Wow, you're so true. And then they just had him speaking with a megaphone outside Nintendo.
Yeah. Because they're like, I mean, we accidentally made this garbage. We might as well do something with it.
But yeah, all that, all those things.
Everything, like,
say words.
I don't know, because like I wouldn't exactly call Fatal Fury a popular Japanese franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Not that I know. I haven't been to Japan, so who am I to say?
I wouldn't exactly call it a popular Japanese franchise. Because like just like on the basis of like, because like a lot of things, I was talking to people about this like before we even knew what the first DLC character was, because everybody that talks about Smash Brothers likes to pretend that they're Sakurai's personal assistant and he told them what his rules and regulations are for characters. So they're like, oh, I think that they're going to do a character from insert niche franchise here. And I'm like, that's not popular. It sold like 5 million copies across the entire franchise for its history. And then they're like, yeah, but it's like the 15th best-selling Japanese franchise. And it's like, that doesn't mean it's popular, dude. So yeah, I don't know about that. I think that they were... A lot of the characters were unexpected in different ways, except for the Dragon Quest one. Fate of Fury is unexpected because, like, what even is that?
Also, just as
Banjo
a thought,
Kazooie, yes,
the only Joker was the only one that wasn't leaked, pretty much. And the only reason I feel like he wasn't leaked was because apparently we were supposed to get Metroid Prime Trilogy at that the Game Awards, but instead we got that. So probably it really was a fairly last minute decision from everything that it sounds like in the back end or whatever. So that one didn't leak, but then besides that, like, we got the data mine for Hero. Obviously Terry leaked like a week or two early, and then Banjo was like very heavily rumored. I feel like, I don't know, maybe not.
A lot of people was like, Microsoft, they're friends.
So okay, maybe he didn't leak, but I think just the conversation around Microsoft and Nintendo, it wasn't as... It was incredibly surprising that it happened, but also not just based on the current conversation. It was like, oh, that does whatever. All that to say, I think if all of them had been not leaked at all or talked about at all, they would have all been super surprising, like, and just kind of like seemingly off the wall or whatever. So like, Hero from Dragon Quest, maybe a little less so because he's got a game coming out, but like Terry and all that stuff. So all that said, I think we feel like we've got a better idea of like what we know they're doing, only because when the announcements happen, we're like, oh yeah, I knew about that as they're happening, because they leaked out like a week ahead of time, for some of them. So like at that point, like, yeah, of course we kind of knew it. So it makes it feel like we're smart for having figured it out, but really, like, no, it's pretty much all over the place in various different directions. So it's just hard to say exactly what their MO for any of this is, especially with more characters coming down the road. Because if there was just the one last character, then it'd be like, okay, we're getting Sora or something, like the big final character. But now it could kind of be anything.
Yeah, now I don't even care. You know what? Nah, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say maybe my next video would be about the DLC characters, but
so,
maybe later.
But interesting, yeah. I mean, a lot of those would be Beautiful Joe, Rayman. Those would be awesome. Dead or Alive, Tekken character, whatever. Those would be cool too. At this point, like, I'm also not even playing it pretty much at all. So,
how dare you?
But I am fine with just about anything because, like, there's so much stuff in there already that. They're not bringing Isaac from Golden Sun, so you know what? I'm happy with just about anyone. Crazy Derp said, I believe Matt could take you beat both you guys in Smash.
I don't know if he means Max or if he means Matt.
I think he means Matt talking about you and Max, because I'm pretty sure I'm probably just assumed to be beaten by anybody.
Well, I can confirm that regardless of who you're talking about, I beat them both.
Nice.
Several times.
Kablamo, you did it. And then Crazy Derp asks, so which game do you think will be announced next E3? Mario Odyssey 2 or ARMS 2? Both can happen, seeing that both Zelda and Xenoblade are coming back.
That's a leap in logic. I think Mario Odyssey is a lot more likely than ARMS. I think the ARMS team is probably not even thinking about ARMS right now because they're also the Mario Kart guys.
Aha.
So
true. Yeah, for even less eloquent reasons, Mario Odyssey 2. I think ARMS 2, I could very well happen eventually, but I've just based on kind of where it's at and it being a new IP, I that was popular-ish, but not like didn't set the world on fire.
I mean, it sold pretty well.
Yeah,
but like we don't know why.
Right? Yes, exactly.
So like we can't exactly say why.
I think
because like a lot of people say like, oh, because like the Switch was new and there wasn't a lot of games, but like. Binding of Isaac didn't sell 2 million copies on the Switch.
But it's also like first party Nintendo game and like people buying a Nintendo console for the first time since, like a lot of non-Wii U folks, it was the first time they bought a Nintendo console since a Wii. So then at that point, or the 3DS, I guess. I
mean, there's other first party games that they released that didn't sell as much as ARMS too, though.
But still, I think the fact that it was so early in the Switch life and all that and first party definitely helped it.
I think it helped it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it alone could explain 2 million. Like 2 million is a lot of units for a fighting game, no less.
Right.
Like fighting games do not sell like that. Like I think Smash Brothers like skews everybody's perspective, but fighting games do not sell.
Yeah. So I mean, like with that, I think even if it sold well for what it is, it didn't set the world on fire still. So having a sequel to it right now, when it's fairly fresh in our minds, like it's not, at that point it would be 3 years old by E3. So a sequel to it now just would not be very hype for a lot of people, whereas for a lot more people maybe it would be like, oh, I remember playing ARMS back like 6 years ago. Yeah, oh, I'd definitely play ARMS too, when maybe right now they'd be like, I just played that, so no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I think it wouldn't happen is just because of the team that works
also very true.
But also, like, again, just like Splatoon is like a newer franchise and we don't have like established norms and like how, like with the cadence of releases and like whether or not they even wanted to make this a full-blown on franchise.
Yeah, exactly right.
Franchise. Like maybe ARMS is just one and done per console.
Yep.
So maybe we'll get ARMS 2 on the next Nintendo console.
That's what I would think is more likely. I mean, because we got Splatoon on the Wii U, but then got Splatoon 2 on the Switch, and there hasn't been enough of them to know if that's going to be the trend. But like, I could just very well see Splatoon 3 on the next console. Depending on
the swap
on the switcheroo. No. But yeah, all that stuff. Marky Mark says, ooh, 3 hours of DTY, which is directly to you for those of you who don't know at home. I never had the NES or the SNES growing up. Hey, me neither. I had the Master System and Mega Drive and said, hey, me neither.
How dare you?
My first Nintendo home console was the N64. Hey, me too. And my Game Boy was mostly a Pokemon machine. Needless to say, Astral Chain has been put on my back burner as I sank loads of hours into the SNES games. Yoshi, the Marios, Zelda, and Metroid are clearly first up, but which of the rest would you recommend? There's more question after that, but let's start with this part.
I
mean, I just said I didn't have an SNES growing up, so this is all new stuff to me. So
Okay, so Kirby's Dream Course, that's a fun game. Played that with Bob. I'm terrible at it, but it's still real
I mean,
fun.
it's pretty much, it's like kind of weird putt-putt, right?
Yeah,
cool, fun.
Yeah. But it's a fun game. If you got a friend to play it with, play it. I mean, it has a single player, but I'd assume that's not as fun. You can play F-Zero, I guess. No, I'm joking. Probably should play that.
Yep.
You already touched on the basics, like the Metroid, the like Zelda, Yoshi,
You didn't
Mario.
say Star Fox, so I mean,
You
Star
can
Fox for
ignore
those
Star
of you
Fox
that
if you can ignore Star Fox if you want.
I will say I haven't played Breath of Fire 1 that's on there, and I
don't even know what that is.
I've heard that one is not nearly as good as what I have played, which is Breath of Fire 2, which came out on the Game Boy Advance, so I played it on there. I really liked Breath of Fire 2 back, when I was like 11, because that was when it came out. But I mean, it's like a very JRPG, early Dragon Quest kind of.
Calamity Ganon, how he turned into Calamity, not regular Ganon.
What? Yes, sure.
Does it explain the weapon durability system?
It sure does.
Okay.
I know you're making a Breath of the Wild reference, but I don't know where to go with it. So there you go. But yeah, those ones. I'm trying to think what else. I've got a visual in my head of some of the games, but yeah, I mean that's
Stunt Race FX, because Andre Seegers wants you to play it. It's the disclaimer: it ain't that great.
maybe it's a fun multiplayer game. I don't know.
The disclaimer: it ain't that great.
Yep. There you go. And then Marky Mark continues by saying, as for Astral Chain, I'm about 5 hours into it, and a lot of the people are talking about how good it is. It's okay. I think I'm only a little way past the quote-unquote introduction area. I don't get the love for the mechanics. The Chimera moved too quickly for me to really put in thought to use the chain moves learned in training effectively. I wouldn't say I'm button mashing, but I don't feel like I have complete control over the moves either. I've already cashed in my voucher for Link's Awakening and Dragon Quest XI Elusive Age Definitive Edition.
I'm upset.
So I really need to make sure I complete the game before they come out.
Yeah, I dropped off of Astral Chain. I was done. I wanted to play enough to get an opinion. But after that, it's like, you know what I mean.
Yep, sure do. How far do you think you got into it? Like what chapter?
Like chapter 4.
Okay. Did you have, how many of the legions did you have at that point?
2.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that's kind of, from what I understand, is the point where it like starts getting good or whatever, is like when you've got multiple legions. Not, I haven't played it at all, so I don't know. So yeah, I mean, if it's not for you at that point, then it seems like it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't care about the story.
Yeah.
The mechanics are fine, but not like good enough that I'm like thinking about it when I'm not playing it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like in the way that I think about Smash Brothers when I'm not playing that. You know.
Yep.
It was like rip that game. It looked cool and it sounds cool, and I'm glad Max likes it a lot. But like, it's all right.
Yep. Agreed. And then last comment from last week is Seven says, I didn't make it in time for Q&A and the subject didn't come up during the podcast, so I'll ask you now. What's the fish Cramorant has in its mouth? Is it another Pokemon or generic fish? Generic dogs apparently exist, at least in an old episode of the anime. So are generic fish a thing? And if not, do people eat Pokemon? Because there are some fish dishes in the anime too. I will say Marky Mark commented on this and they had a little chat in the comments. But what are your thoughts on that?
They eat Pokemon in the anime, like, well, in the Pokemon world in general. But I remember in the anime specifically, Ash thought that Professor Oak was eating his Krabby.
That's very true.
So there's that. That said, I think it's probably a Pokemon. I don't know if it'll be a Pokemon that, like, it'll probably be like one of those Pokemon that's kind of like Muna, where they're like, oh, they talked about this Pokemon in Generation 2 and we never do. You know, like, it's going to be like one of those where we'll see like its third of all form or whatever in Gen 9. And it's like, oh, in Gen 8, that was the fish that the guy was trying to eat.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, that makes sense. Or, I mean, it could even be, I don't know if there's other examples of this. Like, my gut feels like there is, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But like a Pokemon where it exists in connection with Cramorant.
Like a symbiotic sort. That's, what is it called? Remoraid is kind of like that. With Mantike.
Yeah.
Mantike and Remoraid or Mantine.
Yeah.
Are friends, man.
That's true.
You know?
So yeah, I would guess that. And yeah, I mean, I think Marky Mark's comment too was like Slowpoke tails. Like that's a whole point thing. Like they eat that. But yeah, it's weird to think about that. The whole Pokemon universe is weird to think about in a lot of regards. But nevertheless, it's just the way it is. But eating Pokemon, like, you know, then again, we eat animals in the real world. But like, you know, if I had a cow in the backyard, I'd be nice to it.
Sentient. They don't have thoughts.
Yeah.
You know. So
it's interesting stuff, but nevertheless, that's the comments from last week. Now we've got questions from the YouTube community, some of which are questions, some of which are not really questions. Like this first one from Falcon says, okay, since it's coming up on that time of the year again, today's Fanatics food recipe is Falcon's pumpkin cookies. And he proceeded to put a whole recipe for cookies. So
how long is the recipe?
It's like... it's got like probably 15 ingredients and then it's like 6 lines of recipe. So
all right, I'm gonna post the recipe in somewhere in like the description.
If you go to the YouTube community tab, it's in the comment for it.
Go to youtube.com/fanatics4/community or something like that.
Yep.
Or go to youtube.com/fanatics4/community. That's it. And then click the community tab.
Yep. There you go. And that will do it for you. And then the next comment that, again, this one isn't really a question. Lizdrin said, I don't really have a question, so hurry up and get streams figured out. Man, how am I supposed to watch Bob stutter through another Pokemon game?
Oh, I'll definitely have streams figured out by the time Pokemon comes out. Because, like, I mean, worst comes to worst, I'm playing it by myself and I'm not talking to anybody on the stream.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely playing Pokemon Sword on the stream.
Yep.
Or on streams.
This is correct.
Preferably, I have it figured out because I'm like planning tentatively to stream it with MDB.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time.
Streaming Pokemon with him?
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. This one is Marky Mark again. I've been rewatching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine recently. What's your go-to rewatch comedy show? I love this question. AJ does not care about it at all.
I'm trying to think. I don't watch things.
Yeah, I know.
You know? So I don't know. I like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's a good one.
That's a funny show.
Yep.
I like Family Guy's okay to like put on and like not pay attention to.
Yep.
But like I wouldn't say it's like my favorite show to like rewatch. Because again, I don't pay attention to it.
Right.
It's just safe to be like, like I'll probably hear something and chuckle in the background.
I think a lot of comedy rewatch shows, that's kind of what it, is partly about, is you'll pick something different up the next time. Or, all right, here's my laundry list.
Yeah, here it is.
Here we go. Pretty much, a lot of them are the obvious ones. The Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, good choice there, Marky Mark. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Friends. I do love Friends as well.
I saw that one. I was about to say I have never seen any of these shows that you just mentioned, but I have seen Friends.
Okay. Oh man, there are some other ones. There's so The Simpsons, but I don't have a good way to watch them right now, so I'm really excited about Disney Plus for that reason.
Apparently it's like out in the Netherlands or something.
Oh, weird. Yeah. So, but The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, Arrested Development. Actually, that one I never saw that. I very much more intentionally go through and watch. Like, I'm going to watch Arrested Development. Like, pay attention because it's a lot harder to follow when like fewer just kind of laugh. It's more specific jokes or whatever that you have to pay attention to.
I think I'm going to like watch more because like I've seen The Simpsons.
Oh, Rick and Morty.
But like not enough. Oh yeah, I like Rick and Morty. But not enough for The Simpsons to be like that one episode where like I know random bits, but I can't be like the episode where Homer went to Lisa and so like
I can. That's me for seasons 4 through probably 9.
31.
Yeah, right. 4 through 9. We had on DVD in high school and watched all the time. And so like those I know quite well, but then before and after that, it's kind of episode dependent. And like everything after season 15, I've seen every episode one time and one time only. So, that's a thing. But you know what? Now I'll have the opportunity to go back and do that. So yeah, very video gamey question, obviously, but I appreciate it. 7 asked, if Kirby inhaled you, what powers would he gain and how would his costume look?
He'd have a fro and a mole right here.
Uh-huh.
You can't see it.
Is that the power, having the mole?
No, what would he look like?
I know, but he looked like he'd have a fro, and his power is he'd have a mole.
would be, he would be good at making internet friends and playing Smash Brothers.
Okay.
So it'd be Inception.
It's a very meta, move.
Also writing thousands of words a week.
There you go. And just... I like the inclusion of the idea of these being included in Smash, because like, however that would work, sure. Yeah. It'll work.
I mean, where did she say Smash?
Oh, no, you're very correct. I mean, you're just going to go around and write some words. So there you go. For me, I think Kirby would have a beard.
Sound like Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog, apparently. Kirby would have a beard and have a guitar on its back. And it's... So, fun fact about... In high school, I prided myself on the number of instruments I could play, which was 10. But that said, some of those are more lazy. I
know how to play a C note on this.
I mean, it's more than that, but the 10th one was harmonica, which I do play harmonica better than people who don't know how to play harmonica, because I can play individual notes and play melodies and stuff like that, which most of the time it's just it's dumb and bad. But that said, flute was my first instrument, but I dropped off it at some point, so it's still in there, but I just don't.
That's a weird first instrument.
Yeah, it was, and I picked it myself. I was 7, and I saw somebody playing flute at my mom's piano recital. Because my mom's a piano teacher, so she was doing a joint recital with a flute teacher, and I saw somebody playing flute, and I turned to my mom. I was like, I want to play that, and she was like, all right, whatever. So I played that for 4 years until I picked up guitar, and I was like, all right, this is way better than flute. I don't have to practice.
I don't even remember which one I took first, but I took either guitar or piano first. Yep. But I don't remember which one.
Well,
I think I actually took both of them at the same time. Because, I was done, dude. I did it for 2 years, and I was like, okay, yep. I'm done with this.
I don't like lessons, all things considered. Yeah. So that's honestly why I fell off of flute, was because, my first teacher that taught me, we did the Suzuki method, which is you just learn by playing by ear, which I loved and was great. And then all of a sudden that teacher moved away, and I had to go to a normal teacher that was read this music, and I was like, this is boring and dumb, and I don't want to practice. So whereas guitar, I was like, I can just play some stuff and figure it out, and it'll be great. So that was that's kind of how that panned out. So all that to say, I play a bunch of instruments, some of them more currently than others, but the power would be Kirby just pulling out random instruments and hitting them and throwing them at people, and it would be a different instrument every time. I don't know, 40 different instruments, which is not correct. Of course Parker would be our RNG character. Of course. Yep, you betcha. So there you go. Next question, which isn't a question. Mike Bro says, Ring Fit trainer for Smash.
I already made that joke. I made that joke first.
Or did you?
Hashtag copyright claim.
I'm gonna get you talking to Marvelous Entertainment Japan. See what's going on. And then last question from this, Sam Diaz says, if I remember correctly, Parker said he was watching Naruto a while back. If you finished it, how did you like it? Also, if you finished it, I would like to recommend Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I did not finish it, actually.
How far did you get? So, my brother, for whatever reason, his girlfriend randomly was like, I want to watch anime. So he was like, all right, let's watch Naruto. So she, freaking watched all Naruto. And then she watched, all Naruto Shippuden. Mm-hmm. And then she's, halfway through Boruto or whatever. And because of this, me and my brother were watching Naruto. And then, we watched, all of the ones that she watched. But then Boruto came out, and I was like... I can't watch things, man. You got come on, dude. Come on. So I fell off of that episode 7. Yep. Or something. I don't know
how far I did get, but not super far. So we were watching, my wife and I were watching it, and there was one character that she just could not stand his voice. It was I think episode, I don't know, somewhere in probably 17 or something like that. It was a kid that who has a dad and stuff like that. If you've seen the show, you know who I'm talking about. The kid whose dad died or something, or left, or ran away or something.
Yeah.
So that kid, in any case,
in the near the Mist Village.
She could not. Yes, she couldn't stand his voice. And then there was another guy in those episodes, kind of around then, that had a very that kind of voice, and she couldn't stand his voice either. So we just skipped those episodes, and then we were watching through a tournament kind of a thing a little bit later in that season.
And the tuning exams.
And then yes, I think so. And then kind of fell off right at that point. So what's his face had gotten the little tattoo looking dealy bob.
Sasuke got the curse mark.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
It's been a while. So he got that.
I know some weeb
That's
stuff,
about
dude.
where we fell off. So yeah, but that said, I'll definitely check out Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Because I'd wanted to watch one of those, but I didn't know which of the Full Metal Alchemist series was better to watch. So
that was another one that like I always hear people talking about. So like I have Netflix and it's on Netflix.
Yep.
So I put on the first episode and it was like so I just turned it off. And I was like 10 minutes in or something. I was like, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah. If it's one, honestly, like the easiest way that it'll be. So again, a lot of these shows I'll watch like while Ashley's falling asleep. She likes just something being on, and so like I'll watch an episode or two while she's falling asleep and then turn it off and whatever. And so that if that's a show that works for that context, then we'll do it.
I don't have that type of self-control. If something's on, I'm not going to turn it off. I'm just going to fall asleep. It's going to be on, whatever, dude.
And you're like, I don't know where I stopped. You'll be like, oh, I feel like the last thing I remembered was this. And then that whole episode, you're like, oh, no, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember that part too. Oh, I remember that.
I'm pretty good at that.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at being like, this
I've
is
had
the
that happen
last
where I like
thing
fall
that I
asleep and
remember.
just don't even remember. But yeah, questions. Moving along. Twitter. We asked questions on Twitter. You gave us questions on Twitter. John Francis says, thoughts on RingFit Adventure, the Switch Ring thing? John, we already talked about that. You know all our thoughts by now.
I want to call it the Switch Ring thing now.
The Switch Ring thing. But yes, long story short of that, AJ's not interested for personal reasons. I'm probably interested for personal reasons.
Wait, what?
It looks fun.
That's a weird way to describe it. I'm not like how you said that was like a family member got murdered.
Yeah, I just meant like not interested for yourself.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Not ever since the ring incident of 1998.
A Pilates ring killed my father. Okay, if you say so. So on and so forth. Falcon said, can I be on the podcast? LOL, JK. Or am I? Does that count as 2 questions? Wait, is this 4 questions now?
Sure.
There you go.
If you like, I don't know. Tell me what you want to talk about on the podcast. You don't have a thing to promote or a YouTube channel that I know of. We have a YouTube channel, but like, you don't like actively post on it that I know of.
Hey, I don't know what the rules or anything like that are, so that's entirely up to you. And I'm just along for the ride.
You got to be doing something, you know, like an internet thing. You got to be like an internet guy, you know. Like I don't have. It's not like a thing of like you got to have 20,000 subscribers or whatever, right? It's just like actively be doing stuff on the internet. And I would want to have Falcon on just because I think it would be interesting to talk about Smash Bros. But like, there has to be something relevant with Smash Bros.
What about like
so maybe when the next DLC
Terry
fighter
comes out or something?
That's what. Yep. Yes. That.
Perfect.
So the ball's in your court now, Falcon.
As it was up until literally 20 seconds ago when we answered it.
No, technically the ball was in our court because he presented the ball. He checked. He checked
okay.
rock.
Okay, sure. We'll
as
go
they
for
say.
It. I said we'll go for it, AJ.
How dare you get sassy? I've never gotten sassy with you in my life.
Not a once. Wow. What a point of privilege for me. Bianca Wicks says, I'm going on a road trip next week and won't be driving for the first time in basically forever. So what games do you recommend I play while ignoring my family for 12 hours?
So like, I assume that you're like pretty active in that regard. So like it's like hard to say like, well, this game came out like 5 months ago. You probably didn't play that. So like I can only say games that I would play during that.
Smash.
No.
Yeah, that's true because you'd have to be doing single player stuff and you wouldn't be really into that.
Like I would probably lab in Smash Brothers for like 2 hours max and then be done. Unless somebody else had their Switch and they were good at Smash Bros. In which case, sure.
But if you're trying to ignore your family, possibly ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, like that's not gonna happen. I'll play like Yu-Gi-Oh! I just got Spyro like what 2 weeks ago or something like that. I'd probably play that. I'd probably finish Fire Emblem. What else?
I mean, one thing to take into consideration is, I don't know if you've got some cars have chargers now, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing.
True.
So I don't know if you'll be able to charge your Switch. And if not, thinking about games that, will last for a longer time probably is worthwhile.
Yeah, like the SNES games.
Yes, SNES games. Another one I thought of is, I don't know if you tried SteamWorld Quest when that came out, but that was one that you'd probably get through a pretty big chunk of that game in that amount of time, because I think I clocked in around 22 hours maybe for that game total, something along those lines. But I know you like RPGs and stuff, Bianca, and so that game is a turn-based RPG / card game kind of a thing, and it's a lot of fun. So maybe that's one. Otherwise, yeah, it's hard to say.
Get the Yu-Gi-Oh game. She said she liked Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yeah.
Like the first. Yeah, you said you stopped around the same point that I stopped.
This is true.
So get the Yu-Gi-Oh game. That would be a good time, you know?
Indeed. Those are some suggestions that we have. But yeah, SNES games also seem like you said, a good one. Any indie games should last you a pretty good while as far as battery life goes, so that's helpful. But yep.
And Undertale and Deltarune, assuming you haven't played those.
True. You can play Undertale 2 times through in that amount of time. Because it only takes you like 5 hours or so.
Of course. I knew that.
Yeah, duh. Stupid. Next up, Caleb Rosa says, what game needs to be added to the SNES Online? Not which one people want the most, not which one you want to see the most, which one would get the most benefit from it. I'm thinking something underplayed like Super Mario RPG, Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, or even Star Fox 2.
So all of those that you just said,
Yep.
I would agree with. A lot of other ones that, like, for me, that come to mind are ones that we wouldn't get because they're like in collections and stuff.
Yes, right, exactly. And even then,
Like,
I think those ones wouldn't necessarily be ones to get the most benefit from it, because they're already ones that are, pretty. If that's the question that's being asked, because like Mega Man X type stuff, that doesn't really need the SNES to make that game popular and all that kind of stuff. Whereas some of these, it doesn't need the SNES Classic, rather. Or, you know what I mean.
Do I know what you mean?
I'm good at words. But yeah, those ones there that you mentioned, I think are ones that a lot of people are like, yeah, I've heard about these games, but I haven't really given them a shot. Like Chrono Trigger, especially, probably because it wasn't on the SNES Classic.
Is the original, like, Secret of Mana and all that stuff, is that on the Japanese thing?
I don't think it's on there yet. No, yeah. Seiken Densetsu 2, which is Secret of Mana, is...
Yeah, that's the, like, nerd way to say it.
It's true. Yeah, no, I think right now the Japanese one, I'm pretty sure, is the same lineup of games, just with different cover art as the...
Harvest Moon, because people like Stardew Valley.
Nice. True.
So put Harvest Moon on there.
Yep.
To be like the game that started it all.
Yeah.
You know?
We're so cool. I think, honestly, I don't know a whole lot of other ones, because, like, right, a lot of the other ones...
Mario Paint!
A lot of the other
I don't
ones
know how they would do that,
maybe get
but
buried
do it.
anyway. So they need to have a moderate amount of success that it would be noteworthy for them to be coming, but then not enough success that it's not just, like, obvious and, like, everybody's like, oh, I've already played that. So I think those 4 are perfect along those lines, where it would be, like, noteworthy but not super obvious.
Yeah, so Mario Paint. Yes.
And Final Fantasy 6, because no one's ever heard of that game. So
I've never heard of that
true.
game.
I guess in the US at the time, no one had ever heard of that game because it was called Final Fantasy 3. Crazy. Benjamin Aquino. By the way, every time I read your name, I am thankful that the first time that I read a comment from you, Benjamin, that he put in here's how to pronounce my last name. Because otherwise, and I'm sure, maybe, Benjamin, you've commented on, Bob's post or something like that, maybe, and he read Aquino or something.
Definitely butchered
and
it.
Then, so it makes sense to want to specify it. But in any case, I appreciate it, so I feel like I'm not being wrong and dumb.
Yeah, I like when people do that, because I always tell, here's 2 things, because I read people's names a lot, because I do the Sunday streams and you know, like reading comments just generally. Two things. First of all, if your name is one thing, but it's two words, intercap your names, please, people. And two, if your name is something that is not common, do me a favor and tell me how to pronounce it, because I don't want to say your name wrong, and I'm sure you don't want me to say your name wrong. So tell me how to say it right.
So Benjamin Aquinos, just kidding, said, my question, is there a specific genre of game you feel is very lacking on the Switch? If so, which? And how should this be rectified? Should Nintendo use an existing franchise and adapt it to this genre, or should this be covered by existing third parties?
Shooters.
100% exactly my answer.
And I mean, not even because it's something that I want more of, but just because it's like the thing that isn't like accounted for. Because Switch pretty much has everything else.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, especially like all the niche franchises, the ones that typically are ones that are pretty popular on the Switch.
I guess it also doesn't have like a lot of like racing sims either.
That's true. Yeah, because Grid Autosport's coming out next week, I think. And that's the first, like Nintendo even marketed as, this is the first Nintendo Switch like actual simulation racer game. Because there's a bunch of other ones that are like kind of halfway there, like
arcade racing games. And stuff. Like we don't have like any like, which I get. I was going to say Need for Speed, which isn't also. Right. It's like an in between a kart racer and a simulator.
But yeah, that's a good point. And that's funny because those are franchise or kinds of games that I think seem like are kind of have overkill on a lot of other platforms.
Yeah, especially shooters.
Yeah, right. But then just don't really come over. And I mean, I guess because they've sold so well in the past, they have big budgets for graphics and stuff, because that's like an important part of those for a lot of the fan base. So, you know, they're ones that are like, well, we don't want to dumb ourselves down to the Switch, I guess, or something like that. I don't know.
I think it's also because like a lot of times Nintendo would be like, well, we want to do the genres that people like and stuff like that, if other people aren't doing it. But at the same time, they are like a very big like zig where other people zag sort of company. So I think that's also a reason why like Splatoon is like their first shooter. Like first like more traditional in quotes shooter. Yeah, and there's I mean, I guess as far as other things, there's more and more horror games now, which I don't really care at all about horror games, but I feel like they seem like they're, I guess most horror games are kind of underground, indie-ish. I think most of the horror games in recent years that I've heard of are on Switch are coming to Switch. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, Dan's favorite game, that is coming to Switch.
Yeah, that's, I guess most of those are kind of, interesting. I mean, Outlast, that was a big one. And I mean, a lot, obviously, they're more action-y games, but in that genre, like Dead by Daylight, or Friday the 13th, et cetera, et cetera. Those are on their way over at this point, actually. Yeah. Interesting. Good.
So, racing sims and shooters.
Yep, both genres that I don't really care about myself, but
same.
Yeah, but we need more.
That's
for
why
other
we
people.
have Nintendo consoles. Yeah, it's like what don't I care about? The stuff that's not on this platform. Okay, sure, why not? I'll play that. But I mean, that said, I have the other two too.
Yeah,
so.
Right, exactly.
That's why you have a Nintendo console.
Exactly why I have a Nintendo console. Last question from Twitter. Max Wright, our good buddy Max from lootpots.com. Lootpots.com goes to see lootpots.com. We're on Twitter, on YouTube, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they still didn't invite us on their podcast. What's up with that, man? What's up with that?
Yeah, which again, also, the last time Max was actually on that podcast, I think was only once, and was probably...
Yeah, man, but like, still, dude, like, come on,
we should go
man.
on because it would be fun.
What's up with that?
Max is just our buddy. Honestly, even more than being Loot Pots, he's really just our friend at this point.
Yeah,
it's more accurately what it is. But I do enjoy the stuff Loot Pots does. So if you haven't gone over to their channel, 100% go and do that. They've got a fun podcast that's just a lot of good fun. And the episode with Leah Robertson from last week was good.
We're welcoming more people from Loot Pots on our podcast. I've got the ball rolling on that.
Hey, nice.
So the ball's in their court now to have one of us on theirs, you know what I mean?
Indeed. So Max Wright says, Okay, cool. October is slowly filling up with releases with Yooka-Laylee, Overwatch, The Witcher 3, Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth.
Why did he put Yooka-Laylee first? I'm sorry.
Order of release date, I guess? I don't know. I don't know. Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth Collection, RingFit Adventure, and Luigi's Mansion 3, just to name the highlights. How are you going to prioritize your money next month? Also, what do you think Nintendo plans to do in December to push the Switch? Seems like releases will stop with Pokemon in the middle of November.
I don't know. Because I don't know what games of these I'll have to spend money on. And I never know. Yeah. But if the question is which ones do I want? I'll check out Yooka-Laylee, sure. I doubt I'll have to pay for that one. I'll check out Overwatch. I don't know if I'll have to pay for that. I could probably get The Witcher 3. I know the PR company for that.
Nice.
But I don't really want that. So I'll probably get at the park.
Yeah.
Digimon.
Honestly, if my inclusion in this channel only ever amounts to we're doing videos and stuff and podcasts, and I get to get free games out of it, cool. that's fine. It would be, that's good.
I mean, and it worked out because like there's not a whole lot of crossover in the Venn diagram of games that
right.
It's very like because like when it was like me and Logan, there was like too much crossover, so it felt like a leftover sort of situation, or we're like battling to the death for whatever game. But for now, it's just like these are games that you generally are interested in, and I don't care, so it just works.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, for me, I think my just MO with most things of these kinds of games is the ones that I want to get immediately are the ones that I want to be in the conversation about. And then anything else is just what I can afford at the time, but I'll just have to, I'm fine with getting them late. Like, I mentioned that last week, and that's like Ys 8, I think I played a year after it came out on Switch. I've got a poster for that one as well, just right over here next to me. But you guys can't see it, like we said earlier.
Unless you go to the video.
So, like, Luigi's Mansion 3, that's going to be the one. It's 2 days after my birthday, so, like, I'll probably just get it as a late birthday present, maybe? I don't know. And then, but otherwise, the other ones, if I can't play them at the time that they're coming out, then that's fine. I'll just play them later.
But they expect Parker on the Cute Boys Overwatch stream. Confirmed.
Yeah, if you say so. But then the second part of the question, I think, is good. Also, what do you think Nintendo plans to do in December to push the Switch? I've been wondering the same thing.
I mean, they could just say, hey, we just released a Pokemon game. Go get that. Or whatever other game that they release. But they do, a lot of times they'll do like the random direct or random announcement of like, hey, we're releasing a game in 2 weeks. It's coming out in December. Yep. Go get it. I
mean, that's the thing is like normally, the last 2 years they've had a first party game coming out in December, and maybe they've found that that's actually not a great time or something, so they just don't want to, or maybe there's something they're holding back, or I don't know, something else.
Yeah, I don't know though, but because like the two, like to think about the games that they released in December so far, they did Xenoblade, which I feel like that's more of like something that they released because it was ready and there was nothing else there. And then Smash Brothers, which I think is less of a situation of like we need a December game and more of like we need to get this game out as soon as it's done.
Yeah,
and that's when they released it.
Because we said 2019 or 2018, and like that's 2018. Like that's like they gave themselves as much time as possible, but still had to get it out the door.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean that if Smash hadn't come out last year, then any of the conversations about like the Switch drought, blah blah blah, or any of that like would have been a lot more justified just based on Smash releasing or not in 2018. So I think they really cared about that happening. Whereas this year they don't really have that need for at least that part of it in the same way that also like Xenoblade 2017 I think was really important for them to get out everything that they said they were going to get out that year. Nothing was delayed in 2017. Everything came out that year. So like I think that was a big deal, but then now it's not as important.
Now the honeymoon phase is over. They don't got to bring us flowers anymore. They already got us.
So
it's the hair rollers are out. You know.
I think maybe some slightly bigger third-party games could come out in December or something like that. But I don't think. Yeah, maybe Terry. Did they give a window for him at all?
November.
What?
November.
Okay. That's what I thought, but somebody said they didn't give a window. But yeah, I feel like I remember them saying November.
They very specifically said November, and big old text.
Big old text. So, I am very curious about December in any case. I'm guessing third-party stuff to some degree, but who's to say? And then last but not least, from Discord, we got 2 questions from our good buddy Grim Hain, who said, why do the developers of Daemon X Machina want the game to fail by claiming original gameplay footage from reviewers? You know what? I don't know, but I agree.
Who knows, man? Japan is strange sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it took Nintendo forever to figure that stuff out. So, like, Marvelous obviously just kind of lives in those days too. Still,
Japan is a strange place. I combine strange and Japan. Verbal.
Do it. You did it. I'm proud of you. And then the last question from Gimhane, and the last question for today is: will AJ and Parker compete using Ring Fit to see who strongest one is? Also, really, Ring Fit?
I don't know. Is that even a thing that we could do?
Not online, but you know what? I'm going to compete with the Ring Fit, and you're just not even going to have one. So by default, I will be the swollest of the two of us.
That's true. That's true. Those are facts.
All things considered, I mean, I don't think either of us are what you would consider very swole or anything. I know I am not. So
that's true.
Yeah, I've got a long way to go.
That's true.
So that's the end of this. If you listened to this whole thing, good job. You did it. And prove it to us by commenting in the comment section the answer to a question that I'm about to come up with in my brain.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be, what 2 Pokemon would you bring to your grandma's house?
Also, did you know raw cashews are poisonous? That's messed up, dude.
Yeah, that is bad.
Goodbye.
Bye.